Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Malachi Cowtipper, going to bring you another game of StarCraft 2, and today my opponent is Plord. So, for anyone that has a habit of following my channel, all 15 of my awesome, amazing subscribers, you're probably noticing that I had videos come up without sound lately, and I finally believe I've found the problem. My Logitech G930 headset will have nothing to do with my recording life right now. So recording this, I'm now just using a regular old pair of earbuds to hear the audio, and then I'm using my new microphone to record the audio, so I'm hoping that this should give me the overall best quality that I can possibly get. Hopefully no more, interferences, no more having to re-record the games, and I'm only going to lose one game this time around, but this will be a total of 4 games that I'm not getting up to YouTube because of issues with audio or, just not quite understanding what I'm doing with this. This is all, fairly new to me as far as it goes, and this Overlord, he's just so freaking cool. Look at that, he has claws. I think there should be like a Overlord suicide, ability that you can get where Overlords just drop themselves onto structures and just start sucking away the life out of them. But we can only dream. So right now, I'm sending out a scout right at 10, he's sending out a scout at 10, and they're actually going to tag each other like, bro. And then the Overlord is like, what's up, man? And I'm just going to go into each other's bases, and we're going to see what's going on. So the map is Steps of War, and for anyone that's played StarCraft before, you know that this means that there's going to be, usually some pretty unusual gameplay going down. It's very common to, see cheese strategies on this map, especially proxies from Protoss because they're so close together. But if we check this out right now, he has not thrown up his gateway yet, and if we take a look just at me right now, I'm at 15 food, and I'm able to block his gateway from going up. So, kind of cool about being able to do that is it's going to make me feel pretty comfortable with laying down, this pool, and I'm actually going to be getting a little bit of a delayed gas right here, just because when you're fighting against a Protoss, you do not necessarily need to get your gas up quite as fast as you do, say, against a Terran or another Zerg. You can afford to delay it just a little bit to get a few more minerals out on the field, although I usually will get my gas right away, just so I can get speed out as quickly as possible, in case you need to deal with some type of early aggression. So his probe is sitting back here in my base, checking it out, and I'm just going to be able to continue to get a scout off right here, and I'm going to just watch and see what he does. I want to be able to keep in the base long enough to see if he's going to try any type of cheesy strategy, and for me, I don't think there's anything cheesy about this build at all. And one thing that's kind of cool about this build that I'm doing right now is it does afford you to be able to continually pretty much produce your workers while not really having to sacrifice your larva, right away, or, sacrifice early minerals to get an expansion out. But on the flip side to this is you also need to be expansion-minded, because if he decides to go for a traditional 4-gate, which actually another really cool thing that you can do is you can just straight up fly an Overlord into the enemy base. Even if you were to lay down a Cyber Core right over here, by the time my Overlord gets over here, he will not have a Zealot out. He just simply will not. And scouting this, I see 2 gateways going down and a Cyber Core following behind it. So what this means to me is that it's a little bit of a weird build order, because he could decide to do a little bit of early pressure with 2 gateways. But on the flip side, the Cyber Core is coming up kind of late. So seeing that, I won't have a problem putting down my own expansion. My Queen out right here, she's going to inject. Bitch. And then she's probably going to go out and poop out a Creep Tumor and start up a Creep Highway. Because I will still be expecting some type of, faster push. I don't expect him to just turtle up back here on 2 bases, especially when there's, a readily available high yield without rocks that I could take. And if I get on 3 bases, especially one of them being high yield, I'll just throw troops at him until I break him. It'd be kind of cool. And just checking this out right now, he is not really gaining too much of a Harvester, advantage over me, which is something that, as a Protoss player, you can really use your Chrono Boost to your advantage. But he does have both of his gas up and running. We see Warp Gates are on the way, and he's getting 2 sets of Stalkers over here, and that worker was just never meant to live outside of this wall. His days were numbered from the beginning. And my second hatchery is just about to go up, and that's going to be very good. I'm getting to Lair Tech. I have another gas up right now, and I'll hopefully be populating that pretty soon. As you can see, I'm producing 5 units worth of drones. I'm poking up here with some Zerglings, and I see that Warp Gates are not up yet, which to me means awesome, because I do not have a Roach Warren yet. I just threw it down in anticipation because I know that Warp Gates will probably be coming soon. Now, I don't know that they're coming that late, which, again, just always good when it's delayed on my part. But you usually, if you're fighting a Protoss, you want to poke up right around that 5:30 mark, because if the 4-gate is coming, as quickly, as perfectly as it can be, that's right when they'll be opening up. He'll be getting them very soon, and you kind of need to know when you need to get ready to attack. But Seeing that, I'm going to do one more round worth of drones, and then at this point, I'm pretty much going to switch over to building attacking units. As you can see, the creep tumor is down. I have another queen being formed out of this base right here, and we're just going to have to see if I can get ready in time. Now, something that I'm not expecting, and I've actually seen a few Protoss do this, is he's getting the Twilight Council down right now, and as we can see, Warp Gate's coming up right at about 7 minutes, so not too terrible. Could have been a little bit faster, but now that's happening, he's going to be doing something useful with this, hopefully. You will have to wait and see. So now I'm producing a group worth of roaches, I'm getting Glial Raid Constitution, and there goes the Dark Shrine. So right here we can see that he's pushing out with a small little group of units. There's some Zealots, a few Stalkers, there's some Sentries. Here comes a Proxy Pylon so we can quickly reinforce troops. And if we take a look at the Army tab right now, his army is definitely bigger than mine, but this is right about when I can go into full production mode, because I've got 2 bases, and as long as I've got the food freed up, which as you can see I do not, I really won't have a problem fending off whatever he can throw at me, as long as I have enough to take the initial blunt of the attack. So, reinforcing with another proxy pylon, and something that as a Protoss player that you can do that is so crazy cool is you can drop a pylon up here or up here and get units warped in, which is why I always place an Overlord over here so I can see that if it's happening. And his Dark Shrine is about to go up, not quite up yet, so the Army tab's still greatly favoring him. If he pushes in right now, I'm in big trouble. So I have 8 more Zerglings, I have more Roaches on the way, and what I need to be careful about doing is not sending my army in and getting them killed right here, because if the Protoss is able to break your initial defense, even though you can outproduce him and you can reinforce quickly, it's too late at that point, because these troops need to go down. So right here, we have Zealots coming in, and I'm actually surprised he didn't warp in any Dark Templars, but seeing that the attack got pushed off and it's coming just a little late, what I want to do is I want to get Mutas out on the field, and even though, normally speaking, you need to be focusing purely on production, right now what I'm doing is, and this is something that you need to get good at if you want to play at a little bit of a higher level, is when you attack with Zerglings and Roaches, you need to get your Zerglings into the Stalkers, and you need to get your Roaches up to the Zealots. These Zealots completely shut down the Zerglings like no one's business, but Roaches do surprisingly good against Zealots, especially when microed. So, we check this out. I'm able to get my Zerglings up and tank the Stalkers for a little bit, and now I need to pull my Roaches back and I need to micro away. There's DTs in the mix, and I'm going to figure that out very, very soon, because I'm going to hear that evil slashing sound, which is just like death to my ears. So, now I see that. There is an Overseer coming up over here, and we can see that even though I've got more troops in him, a Dark Templar can just sit there and it can really work away at my troops. He's reinforcing down here, and what I need to do is get the Overseer in here, take out this Dark Templar, and then do a mass drone migration over here, and hopefully kill this guy before he can do any more real damage. And right here, I'm going to be able to take him out. Your days in this world are numbered. And now that that has happened, my army is significantly larger than his. I'm way up on the food count. He needs to pull back. This composition that he has is not good against a heavy Ling Roach combination that I have. So I'm remigrating over a lot of my workers, and I'm ahead economically, and my expansion is up, and it did not fall. So he's chrono boosting out his warp gates just to get that cooldown done faster, and what he needs to do is he needs to expand. He actually should have expanded while that attack was going on, so I'm rushing out here with my Zerglings, and I'm not going to try to overcommit to anything. The Zerglings are fast enough where they can get away if they need to, and I'm just going to see what I can kill, get a little bit of scouting in right here, and poking up here. I'm pretty confident that there isn't an expansion. I would have caught it, and I did not manage to kill the pylon, but it's not worth sticking around and losing, you know, more potentially losing more units just for a cheap pylon. So right now I need to get more workers, I need to get more gas, and then I need to get more Mutalisks in the sky. So plenty of Zerglings on the ground, and you know, he's going to have to balance his unit composition very well if he wants to beat this, and what you actually need is you need Sentries, you need Zealots, and you need Stalkers. What you need is you need at least one Stalker per Mutalisk, but you need enough Zealots to completely screen from the Zerglings, otherwise the Zerglings will absolutely tear this apart. You know, this combination is actually very easily shut down by Mutaling, you know, even if all the Zerglings die. So, the Mutalisk's just getting some scouting off for me, and I'm really curious as to why Plord is not expanding right now. He is getting charge, which is a very good ability, but aside from that, he's just letting me milk my economic advantage right now. You can see I'm getting down an Evo Chamber. I'm going to be getting +1 armor, just because right about now I'm actually assuming that the second attack is going to be coming, and that there'll be +1 weapons this time around. So there finally goes the expansion, you know, almost 13 minutes into the game, and is actually going to start breaking down the rocks over here, probably getting ready, you know, hopefully to take a quick third. And that's how he might be planning on winning this game. So a lot of sentries coming in. He's probably just getting ready to wall this off and to try to defend and macro up to a new tier of units. But as we can see, I'm literally double him when it comes to my harvesters right now. I have 2 queens out at each base. So I'm prepared for some type of counter air push, because I just kind of got this weird feeling in my mind that he would throw down a few starports, which would be kind of weird. But, you know, at the time when I played the game, I remember just being deathly afraid of, you know, seeing some Phoenixes and a few Void Rage pushed in my base. It'd be a kind of random tech switch, but, you know, whatever. Kind of a gateway over here, just gateways everywhere. And this Nexus still only about halfway from coming up, and even though he's on 2 base, he's still continuing to pump out so many military units. But the thing is, because he's doing that, he'll have so few workers to migrate over. These patches are starting to get bare over here. You know, that one will be empty very shortly. And, you know, again, I'm just going to poke in here, and I'm going to see what I can see. Just going to try to get an idea for this. I know that the expansion has still not gone up. I just scouted the entire map. I'm starting to spread creep out. And unless he can do something very quickly, it's going to be really hard for him to come back into this game, because he needs to migrate, you know, almost all of his workers. He's really well saturated at 2 per patch, but what you need to do as a Protoss player is you need to be abusing these Nexuses. As we can see, it's almost like he was forgetting to build probes right now while this is happening. So right now he's trying to get more and more out. I'm taking my high-yield expansion, and I'm getting ready to move out with these troops, just poking up with the Mutalisks and my Corruptor of Awesomeness. So many Zerglings. That's seriously like 70 plus Zerglings right there, which is just awesome. So, you know, his army composition is mainly Stalker, very few Zealots, and a lot of Sentries. If I can get a good open fight on this, if I can get it surrounded, he'll be in trouble. And right here, I'm actually able to get a surround on a better part of this army. The Roach is in the center, just dishing out the DD. The Zerglings getting torn apart. But you know what? It doesn't matter. They did their job. They tanked enough of the damage, and there's plenty of Roaches here on the ground that are just going to work away at the rest of these Stalkers. And this is pretty much going to be the game. So Plord, GG's. Well, I shouldn't even say that. Plord does not even GG out of this game. My Corruptor is just like, bitch, watching this game. So the reason why this game came up on YouTube is... Oh, actually, the reason I brought this game up on YouTube is just kind of to show, you know, what not to do, I guess, maybe as a Protoss player. And I'm not pro. I am not a Protoss player by any stretch of the imagination, but playing against some Protosses, expanding behind your pressure is really good. I like the idea of the DTs, but they just were not used effectively. And there's another game that I have where DTs are used in a similar fashion. When you go for this, it's not an all-in tactic, but it sets you back by about 2 minutes when you try to do this. And unless it actually has some very good effects, it's going to be really hard, because you'll be fighting 1 tech level behind. Like right here, he was fighting me, you know, his composition was 4-gate, you know, 6 or 7 minute tech, versus me getting out, you know, having the Roaches in there, the Lings, and the Mutas is more of my mid-game tech, and this Corruptor is just freaking awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game. This is Malachi Kyle Tipper signing out.